Hey everyone, I am Alex. Let me ask you a quick question. Why is it that you can read a sentence perfectly, and maybe you even know all the grammar rules, but the moment you try to actually speak, you freeze? It's frustrating, right? Well, today we are going to fix that. I'm going to walk you through a specific set of techniques, including the powerful shadowing method that will take you from stuttering to speaking fluently in record time. This is the blueprint you've been looking for. Now, before we dive into the first technique, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really supports the studio and lets me know you are ready to learn. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's officially start with the first part of our blueprint. We call this the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. Now, I want you to really listen to this, because understanding this concept is the difference between struggling for 5 years and becoming fluent in 6 months. Most people approach English like they are trying to memorize a telephone directory. They think they need to know every single word in the dictionary to be good at the language. But that is actually the wrong way to do it. Here is the reality. The English language has hundreds of thousands of words. It is huge. But, and this is a big but, native speakers like me do not use all of them. In fact, we're quite lazy. Studies have shown that in about 80% of our daily conversations, we only use the same 20% of words. This is the core of the language. Think about it. When was the last time you used a complicated word like photosynthesis or bureaucracy in a casual chat with a friend? Probably never. Yet schools force you to memorize these complex terms before you can even confidently say how your day was. So the technique here is to completely change your focus. You need to identify and master the top 1,000 to 3,000 most common words first. These are your building blocks. I'm talking about verbs like get, have, make, and do. I'm talking about prepositions and connecting words. If you master these high-frequency words, you will be able to understand about 85 to 90% of everything you hear in movies, podcasts, or on the street. It's like building a house. You don't start with the decorations and the paintings on the wall. You start with the bricks and the foundation. The high-frequency words are your foundation. So, how do you apply this? Starting today, stop learning random lists of words about animals or kitchen appliances unless you actually need them right now. Instead, go online and search for a list called the most common 1,000 words in English. Prioritize these. Learn how to use them in different contexts. Learn their past tense forms. Learn how they sound when spoken fast. Once you own these words, you will realize that you can express almost any idea, even if it is simple. You don't need fancy language to be fluent. You need effective language. This is how you hack the system. You focus your energy where it matters most, and you ignore the rest until you are ready for it. Moving on to part 2. This is what I call the immersion bubble. Now, let's address the biggest excuse I hear as a teacher. I hear students say, "But Alex, I live in a country where nobody speaks English. I cannot learn unless I travel to London or New York." Let me tell you right now, that is absolute nonsense. You do not need a plane ticket to become fluent. You need a change in your environment. You need to build a virtual English world right where you are sitting. Think about how you learned your native language as a baby. Did you study grammar books? No. You were just surrounded by the noise of the language 24/7. Your parents spoke it, the TV spoke it, the radio spoke it. You were immersed. We need to recreate that same environment for English. And the best tool you have is in your pocket right now, your smartphone. Here is your first assignment for this section. I want you to go into your phone settings and change the entire operating system language to English. Yes, do it today. It might be annoying at first. You might struggle to find the calculator or the alarm clock settings. But this frustration is actually good. It forces your brain to treat English as a tool for survival, not just a subject you study in school. Every time you unlock your phone, you are telling your brain that English is necessary. Next, let's talk about your digital diet, social media. How many hours a day do you spend scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube? Probably a lot. Now imagine if all that content was in English. I want you to curate your feed. Start following accounts that interest you, but only if they are in English. If you like cooking, follow an American chef. If you like football, follow British commentators. If you are into gaming, watch streamers who speak English. You see, when you are interested in the topic, you stop translating. You just want to understand the content. This is how you trick the algorithm to work for you, not against you. Another crucial layer of this bubble is what we call passive listening. This is for when you are busy doing other things. When you are cleaning your room, driving to work, or washing the dishes, play an English podcast or a radio station in the background. You don't even need to focus on it. Just let the noise fill the room. This trains your subconscious mind to get used to the rhythm, the intonation, and the melody of the language. Even if you don't understand a single word, your brain is analyzing the patterns. Over time, English will stop sounding like a foreign noise and start sounding familiar. That is the power of the immersion bubble. You are turning your home into a mini New York, and you didn't even have to pack a suitcase. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the heart of this method. This is part 3, and it is the absolute game changer. It is called the shadowing technique. Now, if you only take one thing away from this entire video, let it be this. This is the exact technique used by spies, polyglots, and actors to master accents and fluency in record time. But I have to warn you, most people do this wrong. They treat it like a boring drill in a classroom. We are not going to do that. So, what exactly is shadowing? It is not just listening and repeating words like a parrot. No. Shadowing is about becoming a copycat. It is about mimicry. You see, language is not just about vocabulary and grammar. It is about music. Every language has its own melody, its own rhythm, and its own beat. When you speak English with your native accent, it is often because you are using English words but singing them with your native language's melody. Shadowing fixes this. Here is the step-by-step process. I want you to find a video or an audio clip of a native speaker. It could be a TED Talk, a podcast, or even a scene from a movie. But here's the catch. You must like the speaker's voice. You should want to sound like them. First, listen to the clip once to understand the meaning. Then, play it again, but this time you are going to speak along with them, almost at the same time or just a tiny fraction of a second behind. You are their shadow. Now, here's the secret sauce. You are not just focusing on the words, you are focusing on the emotion. If the speaker sounds excited, you must sound excited. If they pause for breath, you pause for breath. If they stretch a word out, you stretch it out. You are acting. You need to copy their pitch, their volume, and their speed. Why do we do this? Because your mouth is full of muscles. Right now, your muscles are trained to move in the way your native language requires. English requires different muscle movements. Shadowing is literally a gym workout for your mouth. It forces your tongue and lips to move in new ways. Do this for just 10 to 15 minutes a day, and I promise you, within 2 weeks, people will start asking you if you lived abroad because your accent will change completely. Let's keep this momentum going. We are moving to part 4. I call this the narrator mode. This technique addresses the biggest invisible wall in language learning, the translation barrier. You know the feeling. Someone asks you a question in English. You hear it. Then you translate it into your own language in your head. You think of the answer in your own language. Then you try to translate that answer back into English. And finally, you speak. This whole process takes maybe 2 or 3 seconds, but in a conversation, that silence feels like an eternity. It makes you feel slow and unconfident. We need to destroy that bridge. We want to go directly from thought to English speech. How? By becoming the narrator of your own life. This might sound a little bit crazy, and you might feel silly doing it at first, but trust me, it works wonders. Throughout your day, I want you to describe exactly what you are doing as you are doing it. Pretend you are the main character in a documentary about your life. For example, when you wake up in the morning, say out loud, "I am waking up. I am stretching my arms. Now I am walking to the kitchen. I am grabbing a cup. I am pouring the coffee. The coffee smells delicious." Do you see what is happening here? You are connecting the physical action directly to the English word. There's no time for your brain to translate because the action is happening right now. You are fusing the concept with the language. And here's a pro tip for this technique. What happens if you get stuck? Let's say you are cooking and you want to say, "I am peeling the carrots," but you don't know the word for peel. Don't stop. Don't run to Google Translate immediately. Instead, describe it using words you do know. Say, "I am taking the skin off the carrots." This is a critical skill called circumlocution. It means talking around a word you don't know. Native speakers do this all the time when they forget a word. Once you finish your task, then go look up the specific word. By doing this daily, you are training your brain to think in English constantly, so when you finally meet a real person to talk to, the words will flow out naturally, because you have already been speaking to yourself all day long. All right, we are getting into the advanced territory now. Part 5 is what I call the voice memo method. Now, I need you to be honest with me. How many of you hate the sound of your own voice? Probably all of you. It is completely normal. It's called the cringe factor. But here's the thing. To become fluent, you have to get over that feeling. You have to become comfortable hearing yourself speak English. This technique is powerful because it turns you into your own teacher. Usually, when you are speaking in a conversation, your brain is too busy trying to find words and grammar that you don't notice your mistakes. You are in survival mode. But when you listen to a recording of yourself, you are in analysis mode. You suddenly hear things you didn't catch before. You might say, "Oh, I missed an article there," or "I used the wrong verb tense." That moment of self-correction is where the real learning happens. So here's your challenge. I want you to open the voice recorder app on your phone. Every single day, record yourself speaking for just 60 seconds, only 1 minute. You can talk about anything. Talk about what you had for lunch. Talk about a movie you watched. Talk about your plans for the weekend. Just keep talking without stopping. Do not read from a script. It has to be spontaneous. After you record it, listen to it immediately. Don't judge yourself. Just listen. Note down 1 or 2 things you could improve. Maybe your pronunciation of the letter R was a bit off. Maybe you said he go instead of he goes. Make a mental note of it. And here's the best part. Keep these files. Do not delete them. Imagine doing this for 30 days. On day 30, go back and listen to the recording from day 1. You will be absolutely shocked. You will hear a different person. You will hear confidence, better flow, and clearer pronunciation. That visible progress is the best motivation fuel you can ever get. And finally, we have reached part 6. This is the philosophy that holds everything together. It is called microlearning. If you look at people who fail to learn a language, you will see a pattern. They start with massive enthusiasm. They buy all the books, they download all the apps, and they study for 4 hours on a Saturday. They feel great. But then life happens. They get busy. Next Saturday, they are tired. They stop, and they quit. Here is the golden rule. Consistency beats intensity. Always. It is much better to study for 15 minutes every single day than to study for 5 hours once a week. Your brain is like a muscle. It needs regular, frequent stimulation to retain information. If you try to cram too much information at once, your brain will just overflow and forget most of it. So, how do we do this? We use dead time. I want you to analyze your day. Find those little gaps where you are doing nothing. Waiting for the bus? That's 5 minutes. Standing in line at the grocery store? That's 3 minutes. Sitting in a waiting room? That's 10 minutes. These are your micro-learning slots. Instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media, use this time. Open a flashcard app and learn 5 new words. Read 1 news article in English. Listen to 1 song and try to understand the lyrics. By the end of the day, you might have done 30 or 40 minutes of English without even realizing it. It doesn't feel like studying. It feels like part of your lifestyle. This removes the pressure. You don't need to find time to study English. You just integrate it into the time you already have. This is how you build a habit that lasts for years, not just weeks. And that, my friends, is the key to fluency. So there you have it. That is the complete blueprint. We have covered a lot of ground today. From the 80-20 rule to building your immersion bubble, mastering the shadowing technique, narrating your life, recording your voice, and finally, using microlearning to stay consistent. I know it might feel like a lot of information right now. You might be feeling a mix of excitement and maybe a little bit of being overwhelmed. That is totally normal. But here is my final piece of advice for you. Do not try to do all 6 of these things tomorrow morning. You will burn out. Just pick 1. Just 1. Maybe start with changing your phone's language. Or maybe try shadowing for 5 minutes. Once that becomes a habit, add the next one. Remember, fluency is not a race. It is a marathon. It is about showing up for yourself, day after day, even when it feels difficult. You are capable of speaking this language fluently. The only difference between you and a fluent speaker is time and consistency. Now, I have a small favor to ask. If you found any value in this video, if you learned even just 1 new tip, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow, and it tells YouTube that this content is useful. And if you are serious about mastering English, make sure you are subscribed with the notification bell turned on, because I have a lot more deep dive lessons coming soon that you do not want to miss. Also, I want to hear from you. Let's start a conversation in the comments below. Tell me, which of these 6 techniques are you going to try first? Is it the shadowing technique, or maybe the narrator mode? Drop a comment down below. I read them, and I'd love to see which path you were choosing. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.